So for today's video, I am doing something that I've never done before, but I am really excited to because it's something that I, when we first started the channel, I really wanted to do. And that is a book review video, because if you didn't know, I think I've mentioned it in some book videos before, maybe I mentioned it in videos that didn't get uploaded and things like that, because me and Morgan tend to film videos, but then they don't get put on the internet. Crazy times, crazy times. So if you didn't know, I really enjoy to read, but Morgan says she does too, and don't get me wrong, she does enjoy to read, but don't tell her I said this, I think I read more than her. So over this past maybe month, I have read 3 books. Well, I read more than that, but these are the 3 books that I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about 3, as I just said, because I'm a freaking idiot. So I'm going to be talking about ELEANOR and Park by Rainbow Rowell. Yeah. The Unbecoming of Mara Dreyer by Michelle Hodkin, and The One by Kira Katz. And I have them all sitting right here. This is what I was looking at because I didn't know who wrote The Unbecoming of Mara Dreyer. And this is the first book I'm going to be talking about, is The Unbecoming of Mara Dreyer. This is what the cover looks like. This is the first one, and it is a trilogy, so this is volume 1. I'm going to leave the volume 2 Tumblr. She might follow on Tumblr, she's not on Tumblr. And I don't know the name off the top of my head. I know her name's Emily. So she always talked about this book. More specifically, she always talked about a character named Noah in this book. And she made it sound really good, and she made it sound something like I should pick up. So I did, and I am absolutely in love with this series. It's kind of creepy, kind of paranormal, and adorable because Noah Shaw is adorable, and it's so good. So the back, November, I believe. I think the third one's either November or October. But this was so good. I finished it in about a week and a half, but that was going on when finals were going on. You know, all that goes. You have to study till your eyes bleed, and then you cry until 3:30 in the morning, and then you go and take your finals, which you failed. Hey, we're not going to talk about the history final anymore. No, because that was bad. Really bad. Sorry to my history teacher. But on the bright side, I did meet, so basically in the first chapter, you meet her and her 2 best friends, Rachel and Claire. Thank you, memory, for failing me. But Rachel and Rachel has been her best friends forever, and Claire just moved, and she doesn't really like her, even though she considers her to be one of her friends. But you know how it is, the girl moves in, and your best friend that you've been best friends with for 9 years starts to like the other girl more. So that's what happened, and then Mara felt like she had to be cool to try to keep up with Claire, and basically they break into this old abandoned building, and it collapses on them, and only Mara is the one that survived, and no one knows what happens. And so to escape all of memories and stuff from having your 2 best friends and your boyfriend, because the boyfriend died in a crash as well, so her family picks up and moves to Florida, where they go, her and her 2 brothers go to a private school, and she meets Noah Shaw, the way he was described, he's like a British Niall Horan. A British bad boy Niall Horan, who I am completely in love with. I am saying a lot, but throughout the course of this book, she's starting to have hallucinations, and it's hallucinations of her old friends. And at this school, she doesn't have a lot of friends, and besides Noah and this other guy, Jamie. Ugh. And somebody told me that I enjoyed it. I'm going to go pick up the second one really soon. Or I'm not going to pick it up, it's going to be shipped to me. So the second book that I'm going to be talking about is ELEANOR and Park by Rainbow Rowell. And this is one of those books where I probably would read just over and over and over and over and over and again, and just recommend it to everybody that I know. Just shove it in their faces and be like, hey, read this, read it. it's such a good story. It's not about anything in particular. It's just a good story. That's all I know how to put it, you know? There's certain books that they're just good, and you don't have an explanation for it. They're just good, and they're not really about anything, and to be quite honest, they're quite boring. It's not actiony, it's not paranormal, it's not dystopian, it's just a good story. So this book takes place in the 80s, the 90s, I'm gonna go with like the mid-80s, I think. And it's two misfits and one extraordinary love, and it really is that, because it's this girl Eleanor, and she moves into this town and she doesn't know anybody and no one really likes her because she's quite different and she doesn't really have a good home life. And then there's Park, who is adorable, and if he wasn't like my dad's age right now, I'd probably be into it. But like I said, this takes place in the 90s, and the fact that they're fictional, you know, there's always that little kicker. They're all freaking fictional. Ugh. And nothing really happens. It's just a story of them having life together, of Eleanor overcoming a lot of stuff that was happening to her, and Park kind of realizing just because this person doesn't have everything that she's nothing less. And I cried and I cried. I think it was this book that I tweeted about a month ago that I was reading it, and I tweeted as like the minute I started reading it, and I was like, I'm reading this book, I think I'm really gonna like it. And then I literally tweeted 8 hours later when I finished it, and I tweeted the author, I tweeted her, Rainbow Rowell, and I think she favorited the tweet and like replied back, but I was freaking out. I was on the way to Georgia, and I like screamed to the back of the car, and my mom's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, Rainbow Rowell just tweeted me, and she's like, who is that? I'm like, it's an author, and she's like, oh, that's cool. You knew what the hell I was talking about, you get brownie points. So the third book I'm going to talk about is The One by Kira Cass, and this is, like I was saying, The One is the third book in the Selection trilogy, and it was written by Kira Cass. I read The Selection, The Selection, The Elite, and The One. I read The Selection and The Elite in probably about 3 days, and it was amazing. I read it on recommendation from my aunt, and it was freaking awesome. Basically, it's a tie. I don't like to say Hunger Games because no one dies. But basically the way it's explained to me, and as I was reading The Selection, the first book, I was like, yes, this is exactly it. It's a tie between The Bachelor and The Hunger Games. You're taking The Bachelor, which I've watched, but I've never been like into, so The Bachelor, and then the thing that I've been obsessed with since like 2009, and just pushing them together, and I am freaking in love with it. So basically, this girl, her name is America's Singer, and somebody is texting me. So it follows the story of America's Singer, who is a singer because her cast is the entertainment cast, so her cast is like the arts and the entertainment, and they have to perform for the higher class casts, and she's in love with a boy named Aspen in the cast below her. And she is willing to give up everything. She is willing to give up her caste and her family and marry him and just be with him for the rest of her little life because she loves him, and it's very adorable, and I was shipping it until I met Maxton. And The Selection brings her to Maxton, and The Selection is basically The Bachelor, where all of these girls in this country just like apply to be selected and go to the palace and compete for the prince's affection, and they get sent home, and they have like challenges to see like who's fit to be the queen, and it's all very glamorous and dystopian and perfect, and obviously America gets selected and those to the cast. But I really recommend the whole selection series. I really recommend anything that she writes. Quite honestly, Landline I'm sure is going to be perfect, just as well as her other books, and this one was perfect. Fangirl was perfect. Basically everything that this woman, frankly, I would read her grocery lists. If you know what that's from, you get brownie points. Congratulations. And I would like to say, and I am just going to go out and say, read this book. I don't know anything else she's written. I just kind of read this on a whim because this girl that I follow on the internet told me to read it. I was like, okay, I'll read it because you told me to. I have read a few reviews on the second one of these books, and people are saying it's a bit more grown up than the first one. So I don't know what that means, but I will let you know if I like it. I'll probably tweet out if I liked it. Speaking of tweeting out, you can follow us on our Twitter at M&M Productions. And then that'll be linked in the bottom bar below, as well as my Instagram, Morgan's Instagram. I think my Tumblr's down there. I'm not really sure, but you should go follow me at all. And just basically stalk me, because chances are I'll probably stalk you back. We'll just have a really nice mutual relationship here. So, like I said, these are the books I've been loving, and I'm really excited to read. Anything that these authors put out. So yeah, I will leave it with that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys